have a great day on your wedding day. I believe, Laura, you've acted very similar to me in your day. Phil, I've no idea who you are. I don't even know if you played the game, but I believe you're a lucky lad, so make the most of it before your second one.
Good evening.
Good evening.
You all right?
Yeah, very well. What technological advancement have you got?
Nothing today.
Yeah, I think that says it all.
Just au natural.
Lovely.
Well, how's it sounding?
Yes, I mean, au natural, I would say.
Natural.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. How are you?
Yeah, not too bad.
How's the week and a half been? Nearly 2 weeks been?
Yeah. Can't remember really yet. All right.
Anything exciting?
No, not really.
They've got garages in the US called Jiffy Lube. What do you think they do?
What? Jiffy Lube.
Yeah.
What do you mean it's a garage?
So, like, I got an Uber when I was in Chicago. I went to Chicago as well. I forgot that bit. I had like 3 hours in Chicago, so I jumped in a cab to find a bit of deep dish pizza. Exciting. I drove past a garage, like an MOT-looking garage that was called Jiffy Lube, and I thought that's a strange name for a garage. So I then asked my colleagues, the Americans, if you will, what it was, because it sounded like some sort of sex thing. And they told me what it was. And I want your best guess as to what the garage is used for.
Well, I'd have thought sex-based, but is that too obvious? So I'll go with don't know, fruit and veg.
Close. Oil change.
Oil change.
Yeah.
Just an oil change.
Just an oil change. If you want an oil change, drive into Jiffy Lube.
That is niche.
Also, what do you think they call seesaws in Middle America?
Soy sauce.
Seesaws. They're like
sea sauce. I said soy sauce. Sea sauce. Wonky plank. Bendy plank. It's not bendy or wonky, to be fair. Up and down plank.
all good guesses. Sticking firmly with the plank motif. Teeter totters.
Don't know. Why is that then? Teeter totters.
You tell me.
I mean, why is it called a seesaw, to be fair?
Yeah, exactly.
Mate.
In my word, it should go back to the medieval wonky plank that it first was.
Yeah.
For those watching, wondering if Nicholas Limo Harding is the latest he's ever been, fear not, he is not. He is not joining us this week because he is currently in the south of France. Actually, let's let him tell you where he is.
Hello, chaps. Special message from the roving pod member limo. I'm off in the south of France at the minute on a microphone reconnaissance mission for Wiggy to try and see if we can end the series on a high. But thankfully, there's no electrical stores over here, so we've still got the entertainment of Wiggy fucking it up every week. Yeah, a few messages. Great win, chaps, over Rover Pensioners. Really looking forward to the match review of that. Mousy MOM. Great guest. You know, you've got no pressure, but after Pooks' 127 views on the previous week, Kerms ended up with 37 views his episode. So if we could get back in triple figures, Mousy, that'd be great. And a special mention to Porco, who hit 69 at the weekend. Long live the ThighPad. Au revoir. See you soon.
Shouldn't you be at work?
Also, along with Limo being in the south of France, trying to find you some technical equipment that works, he is also scouting potential fitness and conditioning coaches for the Squirrels next season. Welcome to the ThighPad podcast, a podcast hosted by three men, one of which has had his gentleman's agreement described in some detail by a lady from Babe Station, talking about cricket mostly and other stuff. Last week, there was a game. We have a man of the match coming up. I wasn't there. Wiggy, you were there. And you did, I'll tell you what, talking about Lynham as much as we had, you did some Des Lynham style interview. You went for, I'd like to know your thought process on this. You went for, some would say, the maverick choice of interviewing two people at past halfway point and then after the game, but nothing before the game.
No, there's too much going on really, get everything sorted, and I just sort of forgot really. And then obviously in our innings, I was out quite soon into our innings, so then I suddenly thought I needed to step up in your and Limo's absence, and try and get a little bit of footage. So yeah, did well, as I'm sure we'll see. Obviously did the skipper and Dave, and as it turned out, it was a good guess. Good guess, because obviously I was then able to get a post-match review from the man of the match and Chappie also. So
good evening, skipper.
Hi, Phil.
So we've had the first innings. We're now we're into our innings. How would you see the game going so far?
It looked like it might run away from us at one point. They were probably going about nearly 10 and over, but the spin strike action from both ends really paid off and it slowed it up. Then 149, and we've lost a couple, but we're hopeful. We've got some batters to come. What was in the hutch, and I think we'll be fine.
Thank you. Nice one.
One thing I would like to say about this clip is I've never known someone give so much detail without mentioning a single name of anybody that did anything in the first half, which is impressive, really. But he puts that right at the end of the game, as we can see from this clip.
Okay, Michael, so we've now concluded the match. We've managed to claim a very good victory with some great batting. What's your thoughts?
Some wonderful batting from Pete and Magsy. Magsy with some big swashbuckling sixes today, and then the half-hole contingent really saw us through, and then Clusie was there just to finish it off at the end. It's excellent victory, and I'm very pleased with everybody's performances today. Thank you.
Thank you.
As if by magic, he's joining the call just in time to talk about the match.
all right.
Hello.
Hey, there we go. There's the voice.
Camera's coming on.
I can't get enough of your name being in the house.
Yeah. Here we go.
Oh yes, it's gone for bloody back.
Yeah.
He knows what he's doing. He's used the computer before this lad.
That's excellent.
That sausage wasn't as long, but when you have to Photoshop it in, it's actually good.
It does look very long.
Very good. Yeah, well, to make them fit on the old test card for Channel 2, I had to put an extra. I was busy today at work. I had to put a bit of cropping in the middle to give it extra length.
That's really
right.
impressive work.
Yeah, that is.
Well,
Semi-purposely, we haven't talked about the game yet. So it is over to both of you before we get into your big questions as man of the match this week. Let's find out how it happened. So, Phil, do you want to start giving us an overview of proceedings?
Yeah. So we were playing Rover Pensioners.
Now, we've heard a
Also
lot about
known-
Rovers Pensioners before this game. Maxie was on here saying they definitely spank us.
Well, so yeah, I mean, they batted first, and it wasn't an easy start.
the opening bowlers didn't exactly keep it tight, Phil. I think you can say that.
What the
Kerr did.
So the people tending to their vegetables in the allotment had to dodge a few balls, put it that way. So yeah, we were under the cosh.
Who opened the bowling?
So Dave and Kerr opened. To be fair to the openers, they were picking up nicely and creaming a few around the ground. So yeah,
They knew how to hold a willow, Phil. I think it's fair to say, isn't it?
Yeah. There was a couple of nice shots going around.
Who brought out the new ball after like my third? Someone brought out a brand new cherry when I got launched into the allotment, and it looked like a chewed peach by the end of the other 4 balls that had been smashed all over the place. The chunk out of it and all sorts. It was horrible.
There was, the balls were flying around everywhere, and the fielders weren't given much chance, to put it politely. But I think after 10 overs they were 98 for 2, and at the halfway stage, so we were looking at a bit of a big score. I was thinking, I was thinking 200. Obviously, that's halfway stage. Thinking could be looking at 200 chasey, which I don't think we've ever had before in a match. But the tables turned a little bit, and we managed to restrict them to not as many in the second 10 overs. Everyone bowled 2 overs apart from Clusie, I think, and Kerr bowled 4, and we managed to restrict them in the end to 147. I think.
Wow,
148, I think it was. So to say we pulled them back in a bit, 48 runs in the 50 odd runs in the last 10 overs. I think it's fair to say it took some turn. The pitch was one for pace off, and I think I couldn't stop doing this about reeling in the run rate. I just couldn't think of any famous trawlermen because I kept calling Pooks and Wiggy the trawlermen for reeling in the run rate. Max did a good job as well. If he didn't tell everybody he was MOM and the greatest player of all time, he probably would be on the podcast. That or Mark Jordan, bag of pork scratchings.
Definitely the slower bowlers seem to have a bit more success than the bowlers who are, would say, a bit quick. Like
I've been referred to as a quick bowler there, Mo. So fast bowler again, it.
Whereas you've got me and Magsy, and who are just sort of chucking them up and see what comes down, and manage to snaffle a couple of wickets. So that's just cricket, basically.
Too quick. I was probably too quick. Coming on.
Too. Yeah. Well, the faster the ball, the longer it goes, isn't it?
It really did go a long way. There was one point where a bloke someone told me played first team for somebody. So he's far too good. He came in at like number 4, and I was standing in cow corner next to the trees. It's the only fielding position I know, and he hit it like a rocket. And I was standing there going, "Well, I'm never catching it, and it's going to work." But thankfully, it just went about that high and then just carried on going and hit the tree about 4 times up. It was I was so pleased. Never seen more pleased to see a ball sail over my head. I was smashed into smithereens.
Yeah, they did have a couple of decent players, to be fair. But obviously they can only score 25, can't they? So once they're in the hut.
Strategically, we did well not to bring them back in, because I think we took a lot of wickets, and I think they only had one. Did they have one more to come in, or no? They were padded back up. They're good batsmen, and if they'd have got back in even for like 10 bowls, you could have been staring down about 180 in the end.
Well, yeah, because I was bowling an ultimate over, so I was praying with my life that
death bowler.
They weren't coming back in, and we managed to restrict the people in the hutch coming back in, which, as Dave said, definitely helped us. So finished on 148 after being 100 off 10 overs. That was it.
So halfway through the match with that score, are you thinking this could be on night, or are you still shell shocked by the 2 good players and thinking we could crumble here? What were the thought processes, and who were the opening batsmen?
Me and Walters opened. No, I think 140, 150 at Crispins, I think, and we had a strong batting lineup. To be fair, batted all the way down. Everyone capable of getting 25 in the team, so I'd say we were confident. I was confident. Don't know about you, though.
Well, off the back of me 3 bowls all season and 2 ducks, I was full to the brim after being spanked all over the field as well. So that was lovely. Yeah, really.
Let's have a quick look now at your pre-innings interview.
Next up, we have David House in the hot seat. You are next in.
Yes.
What's your thoughts on how we're looking at the minute?
Well, I've faced 3 bowls, 2 ducks this season, so I imagine what I'll do is go out there, tell myself to play straight, swipe across the first one, and be back very quickly.
Okay, well, best of luck for your innings.
Thanks.
And we'll speak soon.
Yeah, brilliant.
So, what did happen? Firstly, Phil, you were doing interviews very quickly, so
Yeah,
in and out.
I was out. Yeah, I was out second over. First ball innings 4, and then a couple of singles, and then caught second over, I think. And then
Before you
yeah,
I think you'll appreciate this, Mo. So I went into the changing rooms and I was like, it's caught out. I said, was it right shot, badly executed, or poor shot? And he was like, well, I didn't really know what I was trying to do with it. And I was like, what do you mean? He was like, well, I didn't know where I was trying to put it. And I was like, again, what do you mean? He was like, well, you kind of like look to where you're trying to play it. And I was like, nope. Still don't get what you're talking about. I just go, oh, if I'm not missing the straight one and getting out for duck, I'm going, well, that's full or that's outside off. I'm going to try and hit that as hard as I can. And evidently it goes to cow corner or leg. Whereas I forget that other players who actually play the game go, there's no fielder there, so I'm going to try and hit that shot over there, or they're all in, so I'll hit it over the top. Not a clue, mate.
That's mental, isn't it?
That's how a cricketer's brain works, man.
Yeah.
There's things called gaps, and you try and find them.
That's why they look around, isn't it?
Yeah, well,
just worked it out.
I do look around because I've seen people do it, right? And I'll back away when they move the field. I know I'm doing it, and I turn around going, and I know everybody's going, come on, mate. You know where it's going. Well, evidently they don't because they don't put 5 fielders there. But they're like, come on, mate. What are you looking when we moved it on the offside? What are you talking about? We know where it's going, fella.
Oh, goodness.
Sorry.
So of all the people that do look around, is it really just like 4 people in our team that can actually then choose where they're going to put it?
Well, no, I mean, I wouldn't. I mean, it's a big shout to say I'm choosing where to put it. I mean, you have a bit of an idea, thinking maybe trying it there, but I mean, the times that comes off like that, I'd say, few and far between. Obviously, where I was trying to hit it, it didn't go anywhere near there, and it went straight to a field and we caught it. So pointless, really. So yeah, I was out early.
Mo, have a look around.
Yeah,
absolutely not.
get a little drawing pad out. Write down where everyone is standing.
What? So Pate 25. He was in the
Pate 28. Yeah, he scored 28. Not out yet. Batted nicely as ever. Yeah.
Didn't get a lot of the strike though, did he? Because he scored them reasonably quick, but he wasn't the first. I don't think he was the first one out, was he? He was the first one back in the hutch even on 25. Magsy beat him to it.
Oh really?
Yeah, possibly.
Georgie came out, didn't he? Next.
Oh yeah, Georgie batted 3. He took one in the face, didn't he? And then I think he got a bit of a dodgy LBW. He thought. And when I got changed and come out, I thought I'll try and do a couple of interviews now. I sat next to Georgie and said, "Fancy doing a quick interview, Georgie?" And his response was a resounding no. So
no.
Yeah, which was fine. I understand that. It's probably more my fault. There's no one wants to be camera shoved in your face when you've just been given out for a decision that you think is a bit off. So
and
that was more
top edged it into his own jaw.
Ooh.
Yeah.
To which he said,
"Yeah,
he's Eubank Senior though. Eubank Senior jaw, mate. You could hit him with the bat, let alone the ball. He's going nowhere."
Yeah, and then obviously interviewed David, and to say he was confident would be a lie.
So talk us through it, Dave.
Yeah, I mean, they made the mistake of not bowling on the stumps for the first 5 or 6 balls, so that helped. Trini and I'll do it because otherwise we won't hear the end of it. Magsy scored a very good 25 and hit a very large 6.
Carrying on his good form of the
3,
season.
got in very quickly. A lot of shouts of 100% record against DB Chiefs, and he's by far the best player in the world, as you would expect. Another man struggling for confidence and form. But yeah, they didn't bowl on the stumps at all for the first 5 balls, which helped. And then there was I hit my first 4 to cow corner standard, and then they moved their young, athletic, muscular fielder over there, to which Trini shouted, "He's screwed," because that's my only shot. And then the wicketkeeper went, "Yeah, he's screwed." So I just hit all my other shots there as well, but just hope they didn't go anywhere near him, which is true. So, but they didn't move the 5 other people over, as Georgie said. He goes, "We've played cricket with you for years, and still no one seems to go." It seems silly. They just put 5 players over there and ask them to do anything over here because I'll just get out, but they don't do it. So
respect. That's why.
Yeah. So yeah, very happy to get off the mark after me saying Trini was going to get the most ducks, and
yeah,
so
because you can bat and you can bowl, but as Nick Kerr was saying in the last one, there can be differences depending on week in, week out. Now, we all know fondly that you're a guy that leads with emotion. That motion is 90% anger and 10% peeved offness. So what has to happen for you to, in your mind, have a good innings versus a bad one?
I think I think generally in the last couple of years, my highs and lows of throwing the ball over the boundary or kicking the ball over a boundary or doing something very stupid has got a bit less because I've cared less. I think anybody who's played any competitive sport with me would suggest that I care slightly too much. So now I don't care as much. And I didn't bowl. My figures are awful, but I was bowling at somebody who was far too good. For like, I'll bowl a couple of bad bowls and they got punished, and then you bowl what you think is a good bowl and it ends up down the A45. So you're like, well, thanks very much. So yeah, I've tried to park the constant anger that I used to fuel me with lack of ability for many years playing football, which I brought to the cricket very early on, and realised just have a few bombers. I think that's also, I'd had a couple of 2 or 3 red bombers before I went out. And if Tor taught me anything, it was barely be able to see when you go out and you'll bat all right. Settle the nerves, doesn't it?
It's a natural relaxant.
And then, as much as I don't want to give any praise to Kerr, I asked him about catching because I haven't actually dropped catches like I used to as well. And I remember saying to him, going, when a ball's coming to you, what are you thinking? He was like, catch it. I'm like, you're thinking about, though, what happens if you drop it, right? He's like, no. What are you thinking about? Catching it. I was like, anything else? He was like, well, why would you think about anything else? Just think about looking at the ball and catching it. And I was like, because normally I'm like, oh, God. Yeah, going to drop it. You're going to drop it. Don't drop it. Oh, what happens if you drop it? And then you drop it.
Yeah.
Whereas now, just think about catching it, innit? Or pray it goes way over your head.
Yeah, I enjoy that. I'm still very much in the circle of absolute fear anytime a ball comes anywhere towards me.
It hurts, doesn't it?
Well, it does hurt, yeah. And also, definitely not catching it. So I don't think I've ever had one. I'm trying to think if I've done any bad drops. I don't think I have, because I genuinely don't think I've been anywhere near them. I've not had any half chances that could be classed as a missed catch opportunity, I think. But that's just luck.
No, I've had some shockers. But I think
you've had some good ones as well, though.
I've had some good ones, but then like it's like anything. I think I dropped one and I kicked one over the boundary and I threw it. So then you get scared of the ball and everything becomes more complicated, doesn't it? Whereas if you make a catch, I don't think I've ever dropped a caught and bowled, which is another suspect thing that people in cricket wouldn't. They will allow. Drop one dolly off me, but you took one that's flashing past your head on your own bowling. There's many a person that's played for the Christmas that only fields off their own bowling. So That often gets labelled.
Who hit the winning runs? How did we signed, sealed, and delivered this victory?
Well, Jupp came in. Chappie came in, didn't he? Trini got some, and then got an absolute capper, to be fair.
Yeah.
Pitched outside off, hit leg.
Oof.
That's that to that. And then Chappie came out, bit of swashbuckling, didn't he? But we were way ahead of the run rate by then. And then Clusie, who demoted himself through bad back, and had done, even with his bad back, he'd done the slowest dive that we had ever seen.
I didn't realise he had a bad back. Actually, that might be the reason why that dive.
Yeah, but then he came in and hit a lovely 4 for
he did.
near 6, but 4 to hit the winning runs.
Oh, nice, lovely.
Which we took a picture with a bag over Magsy's head because the win was in the bag because we're just characters, isn't we?
I made a couple of notes actually about other things from the game. Don't know if you want to hear them.
Desperate to hear them.
Love to.
First one was that prior to the match, Pate had a fruit platter as his pre-match meal. Now, unfortunately, it turned into the most hyperactive 40-year-old anyone's ever seen, and he was absolutely off his rocker for about 15 minutes before the game, and it was off his head, wasn't it? I've never seen him. So so something in that fruit platter had done something to him, and he was he had to go and take himself away for 5 minutes to calm down before the actual game.
In the platter? Guess what was in the platter, Mo?
Pineapple.
Correct.
Mango.
Correct.
Orange.
No.
Grape.
No.
Ooh. Kiwi.
Yes.
This is a dramatic platter. This.
I can only remember one more, I think.
Straws.
Yeah, I was going to say you're doing well to remember.
I think it was melon.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I think it was.
As Pate said, the kiwis were just halved and were too big to be eaten on the go as a platter.
Fructose will get you.
But he was absolutely. He was all. I loved it. He was all over the shop.
I love a hyperactive pate.
Bruised his tricep doing this. Self in the arm. So with that exact sound effect as well. So
worth it.
Yeah, he pulled his pants so high at one point in the change room. I thought he was going to injure himself quite seriously, to be honest. Anyway, that's him. Another point was that we decided to have no flags on the boundary this week.
That's happened a couple of weeks, and like last time I was there, you didn't bother with flags, but it was raining heavily.
I've not seen it before, but I liked it.
It was decent. It was because they had the 2020 game, and the line had real girth to it.
Oh, okay.
It was basically a white sausage.
Sausage, yeah.
Yeah, you could have laid that sausage all the way around, and it was girthier than that.
I liked it. It's often a job that just takes too long.
And isn't needed. It's not needed, is it?
No, it's not needed.
So do you think no flags going forward? Is that what you're saying?
Unless there's no line. Once while there's a line, why are you double bagging it?
White chipolata? We're all right with that?
I reckon as long as it's thicker than a Richmond, then I think you're all right.
Yeah.
Anything thicker than a Richmond, no flags.
Cumberland's too much, isn't it?
Richmond cocktail.
Yeah. Pepperoni.
Small one? Or is that the name for a sausage?
No, that's a small one.
Yeah. Chipolata, cocktail, Richmond, flag.
Savaloy.
Yeah.
Cumberland.
Yeah.
No flag. Lincolnshire, yeah.
Yeah, nice one, yeah. Beautiful.
Just 2 more points. My fielding positions. This is a plea to the next week's captain. Far too varied. I covered far too much. Too much running around in between overs for me.
Where were you? Talk us through them.
Just all over. I think I covered about 3. If you sort of split into 4, I think I covered 3 of the boundaries. It's too much. I like to stand in the same place and then at the end of the over, just turn my body that way to face the other end. Post match. So obviously we had the standard post match barbecue and
PMB.
what evolved. what evolved can only be described as sausage and burger gate. In that
cost him man of the match as well.
Yeah, in that obviously the person who is in charge of purchasing the sausages and the burgers has gone for the outrageous decision to purchase 24 burgers, 20 sausages.
But 24 rolls.
Why?
Yeah, so not even enough sausages for one sausage each.
Why has he done that?
Because he said there's often sausages left over. But this week, the twist was that the Rover Pensioners brought a couple of chaps with them who very kindly umpired the whole game, both. So
Extra mouths to feed.
Fully deservedly of a bite to eat after the match.
Absolutely.
So
we're known for our teas as well, so we don't want to tarnish that reputation.
No, so yeah, and as you can imagine, the sausage and the burger machine, it wasn't like it wasn't talked about for about 2 hours after the game at all. It was, it was easily, it was easily dealt. But no,
instantly forgotten about. Yeah.
And for a man who unknowingly purchased too few, it'll be amazing how he would not own up to it being any way his fault whatsoever. Yeah, I didn't purchase enough sausages. Well, yeah, they didn't eat enough sausage. Man, bloody their fault, isn't it? So somehow him not purchasing enough sausages is their fault.
Yeah. You're one of the players that I think needs to be near the action the whole time, because along with Magsy, you've got a lot to say about the game, and it's harder to hear you from the boundary. So yeah, I'm always a bit gutted when you and or Magsy are away from the centre kind of action, because there's just less shouting stuff.
Yeah, I've realised that I think I'm one of the few people that enjoy it. My constant but limited references to Dire Straits when Mark George is bowling his swing is basically me shouting the Sultan, Mark Knopfler, and the other non-Knopfler, R.I.P. But yeah, and then I lost my head after too many bowlers and Magsy spanked to 6, and it was all quiet. So I shouted, "Get my wife's name out of your fucking mouth."
You did.
And then went back to her.
You lost it.
Yeah, it was absolute dismissive slap, wasn't it? So I was like, "Well, that was a slap. All right, I'm going to shout this." And I enjoyed it.
I'll sit on next to you. It's like being in the bloody Barmy Army.
David House, when was your first game of cricket?
I was trying to remember which one it was. So I think, and I'm very worried about getting edited like Kerr, so I'll try and keep it short. But I was allowed to practice at school, but then and then I wasn't actually. I was not allowed to actually play the games because of disciplinary matters. So I didn't get to play in school. So then,
basically, like Beefy Botham, even in school times.
Yeah, he put 2 fingers up to the regime. So I was like, but I liked cricket. So then I remember doing nets with Rylands over at Dustin School. But it was a bit like football, right? So you're the new person in. So like you basically had to go at the end of the net session. So I waited, everybody else batted, and then they were like, I'll let the new kid have a bat. And it was basically pitch black. And Kerr went, I'll bowl it in first. And so I couldn't really see. I'd borrowed somebody else's kit. It's all awkward. I hadn't played. And I went like that. And all I felt was something clip my shoulder because he bounced me. And I was like that. Right, I'm done. I'm done. So I went out and then suddenly they were like, oh yeah, we got a game. We're short. We got a game at Western Fable if you want to play. And this was like the next week. And so I was like, all right, cool. So I went and played, bought some whites, John Henry Sport, all that sort of stuff. Bought some whites, went down there. Didn't really know the LBW rule. So I knew roughly what to do. And someone said, oh, he's swinging it to get forward. So I was like, lovely stuff. So I took a step forward, put my bat in the way, and it went for 4. And this guy went, oh, blur, lovely. Now someone knows what he's doing. And then I did it again, and it hit my foot. But all I'd seen cricket on TV is people kicking the ball away for spinners. So I decided in my head, you can't get LB if it hits your foot, mate. Then, being the normal person I am, I lose my head when I get given LBW and call the umpire a prick and say he didn't know the rules and it hit my foot, all this sort of stuff. Lose my head, which in hindsight, luckily I didn't realise how wrong I was at the time because it would be hideously embarrassing. So did that, then fielded in the middle of nowhere, you know, out just get I think they both feel like this guy's a fucking idiot, just go field over there. And then went and started, went to the bar. They had a bar bit at Western Fable School Academy thing. Started drinking there. Got home, went into town. You, mum, and everybody were in Ireland.
Oh,
Went into
bloody
town,
hell.
Blackwell, Kerr, Sturge. Went to the lounge. Got absolutely hammered because I hadn't really been out before. I think I was 15.
Was this Cuba Libre night?
No. This
Okay.
is when I fell. You know, the top of lounge. You walk down part of the stairs and you get to that little alcove bit. Then fell from the top of that alcove to the bottom. Landed like that with my bottle of drink. Sprayed, hit the ceiling. Landed on a girl from Thomas Beckett's head who looked up. So I was able to jump up and lean like that. And then she was like, "Oh, Dave's here! Wow, I didn't know you went out." I was like, "Yeah, big time."
Big time.
Basically, woke up the next morning with cracked ribs, but not before I'd thrown up all down the side of Blackwell's car and he'd driven round the taxi rank 4 times. And I fell asleep on the indoor mat of our house with the door open.
Nice.
I woke up about 7 o'clock in the morning with just my legs in the outside on the drive. So that was my first cricket match.
I think the difference there is I've just realised that Kerr tried to tell that story, but it took him 40 minutes and none of us had a fucking clue what he was talking about. You've managed to actually make sense of some of the garbage that was coming out of Kerr's mouth in a breezy 5.
There you go. So yeah, that was my. Oh, and the other thing I remember is I walked into the changing rooms for the first time, and it was back when people had the old-fashioned jock straps, which I'd never seen before, but they were basically a G-string on out of shape 50-plus-year-old men. And I'm sure a couple of them had like belt buckles. I'm sure they were made out of the same stuff the old pads used to be. And I remember just walking in going, "What the fuck's going on? Like, what? Why are men just wearing G-strings and posing pouches?" Because I like. So then when I did run, my box kept falling down into my sock because I didn't know to wear that. And I was like, Oh, and I got punched in the nuts walking out because I hadn't put my box in yet. And someone thought they went, "Test your box," and just punched me in the crotch before I went out. So yeah, you can tell why I didn't play for another 7 years before I started the game.
Brilliant. What? So, question 2: your favorite ever game of cricket that you've played in? I mean, I'm guessing it's that one, isn't it?
Well, in hindsight, yeah, that sounds amazing.
Yeah.
I think there's 2. One was I ended up batting with Gayton, and I think we were like 5 down for like 20 runs. And I think Magsy had said like about Cam, who was brilliant. And he just said, "Don't get out, don't play a shot till we get a decent way to a total." So I had the record 6th wicket partnership, I think, for Gayton of 112. And Cam scored 100. I scored 12. All of them were edges through the slips. But I think I was in for like about 10 to 12 overs. Probably a bit longer. And and then Cam finally went, "Okay, we're above 100 now, about 130, 140. Let's open up." And I did what I always do, which was a straight one that I swiped straight across and got bowled. But that just being able to be watch someone hit a century basically was good. And then most enjoyable was actually the tour game. I thought last tour, bloody loved it.
That was a good game.
Yeah, not great for you. You had like,
no, I can't remember
Scarlet Fever or whatever hipsters have flu, and then but scored some runs. It was a good game. They were good. Saw Wiggy's 40-ball duck. Like it was, Magsy turned into the greatest player he's ever seen. It had everything. And we had shots, and I was again very drunk before I went out, so no nerves. Apart from Wiggy asking me 4 times if I was all right, as I was seeing spots in front of my eyes trying to wicket keep in 40-degree heat. 40 overs. And after the fourth time, he was like, seriously though, do you want me to? I was like, don't know who you are, mate. Can't say.
I think I remember something about, wasn't Wiggy particularly thirsty that day?
He was very thirsty. Yeah. He's a man of simple pleasures, and when he wants to drink, mate, bloody drink, mate. So that game had everything.
Favourite ever cricketer?
Well, we've touched on him, Mo. You know, I don't live by my own rules, and somebody else putting 2 fingers up to the regime, mate.
Me?
You know, it is. I loved him anyhow because he was awesome.
Yeah.
Arrogance, anger, fighting.
Yeah.
But, I loved him even more when I saw that the Ian Chappell and him feud. You heard about that?
Oh,
So
I obviously haven't. Who's Ian Chappell?
He played there like back in the day for Australia, and
okay, yeah.
He was a captain, I think, wasn't he? And he's the Glenn Chappell's or whatever's brother. But he basically, they fell out, and he accused both of them of threatening him with a glass after a match, and because he was a right mouthy shit, and Botham didn't, and he was annoyed that young Botham was basically not intimidated, and then they had this. It's been going on for like 30 years, and Botham would not stop saying, "I don't need a glass to deal with the likes of you, mate." And then they've done a follow-up for 45 years or whatever it was, called The Longest Feud, and it's them two in a room now, and it is the most awkward 20 minutes
really
you'll ever see. Ian Chappell basically won't look at him. He won't. It like Botham's like call him every coward, and all this. It is basically like it is so awkward. It's the greatest bit of TV. It's on YouTube. It's the most awkward thing to watch ever. It's just 2 blokes and both them basically like that. Well, I'll do you now, mate. We never needed a glass to deal with the likes of you, mate. It's just so awkward. It's just 2 blokes might as well be sitting in a playground. It's brilliant.
Favourite ever AC Squirrels cricket player?
Tough, innit? This is always the toughest one. I think obviously Trini and I have a love-hate relationship. He's up there. He does buy me an 84p drink every week. But I just think for nicknames alone, Scurried Goat. Big fan of Dan Clark. He seems to walk in slow motion whenever he turns up as well. He just cruises in with his hair flopping around. Lovely guy. Good stories.
Very good storyteller.
And I like to talk about Drifter chocolate bars when he's bowling, and Flight and Guile, and Scurried Goat is probably my favourite of all the names.
It's a very good nickname.
So I'm going to go Dan Clark.
So this next question was written in by Philip Adams. Where did your skills as an impersonator come from?
Wow. Some would say God-given, but and this is for the older crew. Obviously, you grew up in my house, most of you'll know. But I think Phil Cool, the Rubber Man, really, because I think he didn't actually care whether he sounded like them or not. And got away with it by calling himself the Rubber Man and doing that. So I was like, right, you really don't need to sound like someone to be an amazing impressionist. Now, as it's turned out, I sound like them and can do the faces, so I'm total package. So, and also it's still my favourite thing that Pete really thinks we set him up with Waddell. But I think we can all agree that you wouldn't have got it if it wasn't absolutely spot on.
It was an amazing Sid Waddell impression, and I'll stick to that to the day I die.
And the good thing is they're all relevant.
But they're all cutting edge.
John Lithgow, Chris Tarrant, which I actually copied off Wiggy because he did it once when he was drunk, and I thought I can do that. I like it. So, you know,
I think what helps as well is the repetitiveness of it. You got it. You got to
practice.
It comes out once, and then that's all you'll hear for 24 hours, and then suddenly it's like being on holiday with John Lithgow. Very, very strong. Very.
I do a great Phil Adams as well. I need a drink, mate.
That is
Bob
absolute
Ovid.
textbook.
Fairbrass, another one.
I remember Pate saying that when you got into your John Lithgow 48 hours of just doing John Lithgow, I think that was a stag do that I wasn't on. It might have been one of Nick Kerr's.
Yeah.
Pate said that he saw you in the corner of the club and you were just saying it to yourself. It's all what you do.
It'd been a hard 48 hours of drinking, and I remember it. Everybody was sitting down. I was looking out over this balcony, just staring, going, "You figure." And then Travis and Patty was like, "Who are you talking to?" I was like, "I've got a problem, Pete. I can't stop saying it. I can't stop saying. I haven't started yet, Travis." That was a strange time for everybody. What was harder was reintegrating into normal society when I got home.
Yeah,
Didn't want to hear Craig Fairbrass and John Lithgow impressions from Cliffhanger exclusively.
I like the fact there doesn't seem to be any pre-planning in a lot of them. It's just if the zeitgeist brings them up, then you're there to embrace. Some would say ride the zeitgeist.
The other side of it is I know that there'll be Wiggy and Trini rolling their eyes and nudging each other whenever it happens, because I don't plan for it. On tour, I couldn't stop saying I need a drink, mate, and that story got longer and longer. And every time it was such a nudge, wink, wink atmosphere with Wiggy and Trini like that. Here he goes.
Excellent.
I'm the victim.
I've realised question 6 is left over from the Pooley interview, so I'm not sure. What's your favourite indie band soft furnishing owned?
Oh, really?
I was like, that's a left field one for me. I was like, but well, thanks to you, Mo. It's not technically mine. Cass has got a signed Sleazy Bed Track lyrics Blue Tones.
Very true. Very true.
And the lead singer of the Blue Tones has been hit by 2 of Cass's bras, which is where she met Brian Pooley, because unsurprisingly, he was at the Blue Tones gig when Cass threw a bra which wrapped round the microphone cord at a small acoustic gig upstairs in the Charles Bradlaugh. So, but the closest I've got is a Chuck D History of Rap hardback book that's signed by him. But that, it's close to as indie as I can get.
How didn't I know about the Chuck D book? Why is this the first I've ever heard of you owning that book?
It was a present from a colleague at work, and it's sitting on the record player thing that I made the wrong way around. That one.
Looking at that next time I come over, whilst admiring the balsa wood we can see on the back to front shelf.
Vinyl facing out, mate.
Number 7 was written in by Nick Harding. As brothers, do we ever talk about the game at family events?
I was thinking that. A few pats on the back, maybe, but I think it's more our old man. He likes to keep up to date on Instagram with, so he'll have a look at the figures, the top performers. So he'll have a look if we scored some runs. I think he's clinging on to the fact that whilst he had sporting prowess, he hasn't had a lot to vicariously live through us. So he's more than happy to have a chat if he's seen we've taken some wickets or scored some runs. Rather than, he played England basketball, national long jump champion, which record held for about 25 years. And he's ended up with me and you as his sporting seeds. So, we've got his anger. We just missed out on some of the talent.
Yeah. Well, I think it's good of you to say we've got some of the anger. I mean, you're definitely carrying the
more of it.
The heavier load there. I've got my moments, I guess. I was going to say the same. I will say that, as with all sporting things that we talk about, you're a natural coach So the majority of our chat about cricket is you just giving me hints and tips on how to be slightly less bad than I am. And to be fair, always pay off.
I was going to say, cue the abuse on the WhatsApp group for the thought of a lot of people thinking I can give any cricket tips. But just because I can't do it doesn't mean I haven't listened to people that know how to do it.
Yeah. So another one from Limo. This will shock you. Your final question of the man of the match question. What's your personal best time for finishing off a cracking spag bowl in a Hunsbury hot tub?
Oh yeah, 7:30 in the morning after a night out in a hot tub that was probably purely sweat, and I'm going to say sweat and nothing else. Lukewarm. But Limo said, "Do you want some breakfast?" I said, "That'd be lovely." And he came back 15 minutes later with 2 giant bowls of spaghetti bolognese.
That's excellent.
We were in the hot tub, watched on by what I can only describe as a 5-foot long slug. Which is why I call him Joey and not Nick, because we were both heavily sleep deprived, and we decided he had a ponytail, this slug, and his name was Joseph. And as you know, as you've already mentioned, Phil, I like to repeat things a lot. Limo's got that in his locker. So Joey was born, and me and Nicholas called each other Joey.
Still going strong to this day, yeah. It's a good one.
Going strong, yeah.
Thank you very much. Any bonus questions, Phil?
No, I think you covered them all there. So this is the return fixture against the Chiefs.
Right, okay.
Played them at home earlier in the season. And this is the return fixture away.
Where's their ground?
It's like in town, Birchfield Road.
That's the ground of mine and one of mine and many Keith Robbo arguments.
Yes.
Where I kept telling him to get out. And he kept saying, "You've had your chance. Get over it." As we lost the game. And I think Robbo was there. Mark Robbo was there, enjoying every second of it.
Yeah. Yeah, they got a bit heated.
Me and Keith, we loved falling out, making up, falling out and making up.
Yeah.
So let's do some quick predictions then. Even though we don't know the team, this will be good. So most runs this week.
My prediction for Thursday is Labour by a landslide. Labour or landslide.
Political satire. You like Carol Crutchingham.
Who's going to score the most runs, Phil Adams?
I don't know the team. It's hard, isn't it?
Well, that's what I've had a look at.
It's the team. It's the team you've got down there, minus Stuart Nutt.
I reckon Brian Pooley's going to absolutely get back to his swashbuckling best.
Nice.
I'm going to say Stu Mac Dermot.
Man in form.
And I'm going to go for David House. Most wickets.
Danny Carter.
I was going to.
You can both go for him. You can both go for him if you want.
No. Kerr. No, that's boring. Me.
Nah, that's ridiculous. Danny Carter.
Now I'm going to go for Stuart Nutt. Thank you very much for joining us, De House. Thank you for watching us. This has been the ThighPad podcast with me. Goodbye, Philip.
Bye.
And special guest man of the match / co-host for a week, David House.
Technically co-host. Thank you.